Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson from nomadcapitalist.com and author of the book Nomad Capitalist on Amazon. Today I'm in Old Tbilisi, Georgia. This is a rather traditional, older neighborhood, not so far from where I live when I'm here. And I want to show you this part of town. I want to use this as a backdrop to answer a question that I've been asked increasingly lately, particularly by people who want my help. This is kind of the question that people have asked as the blockage between where they're at now and joining the nomad capitalist lifestyle. This is what concerns them. And so a good answer means, yes, Andrew, I want to get started with the legal tax savings. Yes, I want the dual citizenship. Yes, I want this global citizenship lifestyle. And a no is, forget it. So in the book, I talked about my friend Brian, who, when I went to visit him a few years ago, was very curious about this lifestyle, thought it sounds very intriguing. And he said, do I have to live in a hut or something? More recently, people have come to me, people who are high earners, people who like luxuries in their life. They don't want to go and live in a hut. And they've said, hey, Andrew, we'd like to do this, but we want to make sure we don't have to live in the quote-unquote third world. And the very simple answer is no, you don't have to live in the third world. You don't have to live in a hut. I'm going to explain the history that surrounds this question, in my opinion, and give you a few things to consider when it comes to how you might have to change your lifestyle if you want to become a nomad capitalist. So what a lot of people do when they start looking into this is they start looking at, digital nomad. They start looking at concepts surrounding work and travel. And what I found is that that's often a misnomer. There are really two categories of people who get into this. They're the people who haven't already made it and want to use this lifestyle as a springboard for making it. It's really kind of an entirely different lifestyle than nomad capitalist. That is kind of the traditional nomad, move to Chiang Mai, move to Canggu or wherever, and start making money on a laptop. Maybe you have a goal to make it big. Maybe you just want to live a basic life. The other side of the equation is people who've already made it. They come to people like me and they want to know, hey, I'm making $1 million a year. How do I save 300 grand in taxes so I can put that money back into my business and add some millions to my bottom line in 10 years? I was a combination of these two. I'd already made it in the United States. I'd sold my businesses and I was going overseas to figure out what my next move was going to be. That's where Nomad Capitalist was born. And so I think that people get confused because so much attention is drawn to that first category. So much attention is, follow these guys with YouTube videos, how to rent a place for $200 a month. And that's fine. We all have to start somewhere. It was a long time ago that I started in business at 19 years old, and there were probably a lot of sacrifices that I made. But I think the interesting question from people who are already successful is that they don't want to go back and they don't want to make those sacrifices again. After all, if you can save hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars every year, that is a lot of money over the next 2, 5, 10 years and a lifetime. We're talking about millions of dollars. And when we're talking about that much money, it's only natural to say, you know what, I want a nice cup of coffee. I want my Gucci shoes. I want my nice hotels. I want creature comforts. And I think that a lot of people get confused and they think that they can't have those things. So the simple answer is yes, you can live in a variety of different places or just one place and you can have your creature comforts. Now specifically, a lot of people who come and ask me this question, they want to know about Europe. They want to live in Europe. That's often the place that people who want the quote-unquote first world creature comfort-rich environment want. I've had a few folks recently, a lovely couple, a couple-to-be. They've said, Andrew, Europe is our place. Now, one of my jobs here in working with them is to point out that going to Europe may have more bureaucracy. If you want to live in Europe full-time, there may be other things that you've got to do. There may be certain places you've got to put your company, depending on how you structure your lifestyle of living in Europe. If by Europe you mean the European Union, there may be certain other things that you have to do. Is it worth it for you to have that extra cost? Or would you rather find a place that's similar? Would you rather split your time between different places? There are lots of different strategies that can be considered because, we want to eliminate bureaucracy in our life. We want to make our lives simpler. In addition to saving money, that's what we want as nomad capitalists. And so I think that it's important to guide people on the fact that, hey, in my opinion, Western Europe ain't that great. I don't really want to live in Western Europe. There are a few cities that I would enjoy spending part of the year in, But quite frankly, to me, much of the European Union, overpriced, underdelivers. And I find places, whether it's Tbilisi, whether it's Montenegro, whether it's Belgrade, other places in Europe to me are a lot more interesting. Other places in Asia, South America, etc. are more interesting. You also have places like, Dubai that people might want to consider if they want that high level of service, luxury, and comfort. So there's a lot of things that go into deciding, where you want to live. And I think that the knee-jerk reaction that Europe is the only place you want to live if you want a luxurious life is probably not based entirely in the truth. But it may be what's right for you, so nobody knows. These are just the things that you need to think about. So, can you live in the first world? Absolutely. Can you live in Europe full-time? Maybe. Whenever someone comes to me and says, hey, Andrew, I want to go and live in France full-time, I said, well, there's going to be some tax consequences. There are certain ways to live in Europe full-time for some people and pay very little, if any, tax, but it often doesn't apply to certain types of businesses or people who are trading cryptocurrencies. So the devil is in the details. There are lots of different scenarios. I couldn't possibly lay them out in one video. But the more demands you have, the more pieces to your puzzle there are going to be if your goal is tax reduction. Obviously, it's easy to move from the United States to Germany, start a business, and pay even more tax in Germany than you would in the US. That's what I call jumping from the frying pan to the fire, or from the frying pan to another frying pan. We don't want to do that. So there are legal ways to save yourself tax and give yourself a first world lifestyle. Obviously, in my opinion, there are plenty of places like Singapore, like Kuala Lumpur, like even Mexico City, places in Chile. There are places all around the world where you can live in a certain part of town and get the first world lifestyle. And maybe the whole town as a whole isn't first world, but I think it's worth for people to consider those. Again, those are ways to make the plan easier, right? So, if you just go and live in France full-time, 365 days a year, move all your crap to France, you're probably not making your life easier. If you're open to where you live in Europe, if you're open to some ideas, hey, these countries are easier, these countries are not so easy. If you're open to spending your time in different parts of the world, different times in the year, i.e., want to spend 4 months in Europe and then travel around to other places, these are all ways that can make it easier. So the long and short answer is, no, you don't have to live in a hut. No, you don't have to live in the quote-unquote second or third world. You can live in first world comforts, you can live in Europe, you can live in the Middle East, you can live in Asia, you can live really wherever you want with the nomad capitalist lifestyle. It's just a matter of figuring out what is the plan that helps you get where you want to go. And for most people who come and ask for my help, it is, Andrew, I'm suffocating under these high taxes. So if that's the goal, if putting those millions of dollars over the next 5 to 10 years in your pocket is your goal, then there's going to need to be some careful planning to make sure your first world lifestyle doesn't crimp your nomad capitalist benefits. It's possible. Obviously, that's where more complexity comes in, and certain things need to be considered. As always, there are certain things in your plan that will always need to be considered. Everyone has a puzzle that defines their nomad capitalist lifestyle, and it's important that you figure out what yours is. But yes, I think that I've been predicting for years we're going to see more and more different nomadic lifestyles, and here we are. We're seeing people who want luxuries, they want comforts just the way I do, and that's becoming a more and more acceptable way to live a nomadic lifestyle. If you want to find out more about the nomad capitalist lifestyle, definitely check out our book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon. That's kind of a 101 level guide to introducing you to the concepts, introducing you to why I spend time in places like Tbilisi. And if you're trying to just figure this stuff out, head on over to nomadcapitalist.com and we would be happy to help you.